Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lazy, and in today's videos, let's talk about the single most insane leveling setup I have ever tried in PoE 2. And this is one of the best, if not the single best leveling methods in the game right now. And this setup will work on any class or ascendancies that you want to try in the game right now. All you need to do is prepare the items, the skills, and the setup once, and then you can reuse it on any alt characters, which make this a very good way to level all your alts. What you can see in the background right now is I am leveling every single class as the Huntress using the new spear skill called Rake, and it is the single most broken leveling skill right now in the game. Previously in 0.1, I think the single best leveling method was actually Ice Strike Monk, or some could say Gas Arrow. But for 0.2, it is definitely going to be this build. This build is extremely tanky all the way toward the end game. Your damage does not fall off easily as much as the Monk if you don't get flat damage on your gear. Your scaling scales purely based on your strength, and it is extremely good. I want to quickly give shout out to two channels or content creators that I've learned a lot from their contents while making this build. The first one is Lolliprop, where he is a speed runner. I definitely recommend checking out his content. I think he's probably one of the first to post about this tech where you can animation cancel with Whirling Slash and Rake with the parry text, so you can move very fast. And his second channel is UncleJay, where he's the only one on YouTube right now, I think, posting about this Rake and Stomping Ground build in the end game, where he have kind of taken this character into T15. That gave me a few ideas on how to scale this toward the end of the campaign, and I would definitely check out his channel if you like this playstyle, if you like the skill Rake and you like Stomping Ground and you want to take this build further into the end game. But with that being said, let's talk about everything you need to know about this leveling guide. Very quick before we started, if you prefer to read instead of watching the videos, I also have a written guide put up basically for all the class and ascendancies, and just pretty much class, because you can use this, you could play this variant of the build without ascent. So it works for me. I did not need to ascent on my witch, and in here I have basically put out all the equipments that you need to equip in a leveling equipment step by step on what to put on at what level, and also the leveling jewels. We have a from nothing options. We have the skill gems, in which we'll have all the support gems, and highly recommend you to have a falling Rake and stuff like that. Everything will be included in this written guide. We'll have all the acts and skills when to put up. I will have the passive skill trees. Once again, this is going to be for all the class, and I will have a written guide put up so that you can use this on any class, all the pathing for each of the class, and we'll have a how to play sessions where I will explain on what kind of beast that you should tame and what is the ascendancy and stuff like that. There's also a quest to do in the campaign, so you can use this as a checkpoint to go through the campaign without needing to go to any other external sources. All in all, if you find the written guide have any discrepancy with what I say in the videos, always assume that the written guide will be the most up-to-date, because I cannot go back and change what was said in the videos. But just so you know, I will always come back to this as reference, and I will keep it up to date just because I will be leveling quite a few alts of this league, and hopefully that we find some new techs, or if there's anything changed, I will also go back and make the adjustment as well. Next up, let's talk about our leveling gear. And in my opinion, investing, at least alt leveling, investing in items is probably the single best investment that you can make, because leveling is all about getting good gears and getting good damage to outscale the content that you are doing. And you can see this is my freshly leveled characters. I've been messing around a little bit, but basically I leveled this in under 5 hours. And for all the years, we are stacking strengths, right? So on all the gears, all the rune slot, you want to socket in the robust rune. This is the new rune that is that they just added into the game, and it make this build even stronger in the early part of the games, because we are getting so much strength from these runes. So make sure that you use this in all your item slots. And the first thing is going to be all the weapons, and you can basically use whatever you want. This thing at level 5 give 30 strength at the best roll, and you can even socket in the runes for even more. But yeah, it's very strong. The best spear that you can use, and you can use this all the way from level 16 to the end game. It's going to be Sky Sliver though. And this one, basically, it said do no physical damage. It doesn't really matter. Stomping Ground deal physical damage, but it does not rely on the weapons. It has the line that say rolls only the minimum or maximum damage value, and this is pretty good for Stomping Ground because our skills actually hit 3 times whenever you use Rake, which is why a lot of the, or if not all of these Rake and Stomping Ground user are using these weapons at the moment on PoE Ninja. The roll does not really matter too much, but you want to get a really high attack speed one. Even the rune slot, so if you can have 2 rune slots, you can use the new runes, which give 8% increased skill speeds, which is really good for this build, but it's expensive, and so yeah, Sky Sliver very strong. For the helmets, you will start with Wings of Selene, just kind of there to give some rage, but at level 5, you will swap over to Grey Mech. This one gives a tons of strength in the early games. So much strength that the moment you equip this, you will start one-shotting all the early boss in the early part of the games and give 50 strength, and you only care about strength roll when you suck at it 6 strength from the rune as well. You can use this all the way until level 30, where you will swap to a Blackstone Crest, and Grey Mech will start falling off at level 30 to be exact. So this is why I put in a 10 strength rune, and this is the Greater Robust rune, which gives 10 strength, and it requires level 30, so it's just perfect because I want to make the swap at level 30 anyway. You want to look for, again, the only thing that matters is increased strength, so just get as much strength as you can. You don't have to get it corrupted, just get a 15% one, yeah. If you want to meet max, obviously, just go for whatever that gives you the most amount of strength. We will also start with using a Ghost Ride, and highly recommend you, at least in the early part of the game, to buy a Ghost Ride with 3 rune socket. It's quite cheap, and it was nerfed, but we are strength stacking. We get so much maximum life from our strength anyway, so just by putting on Ghost Ride, you will be extremely tanky for pretty much the whole Act 1. You will face tank everything without issues. And we have Titan Wrath, and this one gave massive amount of strength, so you can equip this at level 20. You can find one corrupted with more strength to put in the Robust rune, and I just buy one with 30% increased strength, extremely amount of a lot of strength that this body armor provide. You have no life regeneration. It doesn't really matter in the early game. You can use your life flask without problem. And the moment that you put on the Titan Wrath body armor, you will be extremely tanky anyway, because you have 800 armor. And right now it's level 58, so if I put this on, my armor is roughly 33% estimate physical damage reductions, but in the early part of the game, when you put on at level 20, this is like 65 plus to almost 70%. So basically you take no damage from anything in the campaign, and you have a massive amount of life, so it's extremely tanky. You can use this all the way until the end game. And for the boots, just generic movable speed boots, we don't really care too much, but Luminous Pace pair pretty well with Ghost Ride. It make you have faster recharge of energy shield, so whenever you take damage, you will start recovering your energy shield faster. And then we have Wanderlust. And finally, at level 30-ish, we also swapped to Trample Toe, and it was nerfed. It's not the one-shot build from 0.1 anymore. But this build is this Trample Toe is just good for AoE clear. It's in combine, we use this in combine with Herald of Ash to do massive amount of AoE clear, which pretty much kill everything around you. It's not the same as the Herald of Ice and Pozikin, but it's still very strong. Basically, use any buckler that you want to. This is mainly for us to have access to the ability parry, so we can do the animation cancelling, which I will showcase later with break and parry. And at level 26, you can also swap to Silverthorn, which I sometimes use this to parry boss and give 10 stack of critical weakness. which can help you crits, but it doesn't really matter too much. It also gives all elemental resistance, which is good. For the glove, we will start with Painter's Servants in the early part of the game to give you some extra damage gain which is extra damage. But at level 16, we'll swap to Loptonia Karis, and this glove gives you increased skill speed, which is good because we want to attack fast, and it will convert our Rake into movement speed because we attack fast, so we move faster. And for the amulet, we can use Revere Resins, or you can also use Carnage Heart. The Carnage Heart one reduces your maximum life though, so I cannot use this one, and it feels very comfy. At least I use this all the way until level 52, when I swap over to another one with just basically the only stat you care for is strength. So just strength, and all attributes. But yeah, increased flash life recovery rate is very comfy, and we have flash life gain charge. But we don't really have problem with this anyway, so if you want to pick up a better one in from level 28, 30ish, and then make the final swap to 50, at level 52, you can, but that's the idea. For the early part of the game, Black Heart is very good too. So this ring gives 20% chance to intimidate on hits, and basically it lets you deal increased damage, and you reduce the boss damage, so just help a little bit. But essentially you are very tanky in pretty much the whole normal campaign. You can face tank everything. I didn't really swap off this ring until level 52. And I also use Glow Swarm as the early part of the game where we don't have good amount of mana and good amount of flash. This one gives mana flash gain charge per seconds. You won't have to get a corrupted one like this. It's still pretty cheap, but basically because we are moving with Rake, and we will be spending a lot of mana, so this one just help us sustain if we spending a lot of mana to use Rake to move around in a large area. Finally, we kind of swap off both of these rings at level 29 and 52. I mean, you can probably swap off both of these rings at level 50, at level 29 for strength and attribute roll like this. 52, you get another one with high strength roll and attribute roll. But basically, that is it. We have Meginob Girdle, and this one just gives a lot of strength, and you can use it all the way from level 1 to level 60, so it is pretty good. For the jewel slots, you don't really have to get a perfect one like this, but attack speed is good, attack speed with spear is good. Basically, the more attack speed you have, the faster you are going to move, and the smoother the build will feel in the end, toward the end of the campaign. So we also grab one with Companion, deal increased damage. And because we take Inspiring Ally, so increase and reduction to companion damage also apply to you, which means this is a very good way for you to scale generic damage, which also scale the Stomping Ground, if I understand the skill correctly. So Companion deal 20% increased damage, and we benefit from that, so our skills also do 20% increased damage, and we can get a few of them. I have another jewels over here, which is from nothing, and it's very expensive. I wouldn't recommend you to do this, but basically it allows me to allocate passives in the Iron Reflex area, so I can grab Polymathy without spending 4 point here, and I can also grab Authority. And I think that's pretty much covered everything you need to know about the items and the gear of the build. The skill gem is probably going to be the simplest leveling skill gem setups that I can think of out of all the leveling setups. This is because we are using the same skills from level 6 until all the way until the end of the campaign. And in the early part of leveling, we are using Disengage with Stomping Ground, and with Ingenuity, this one means that whenever you use the leap like this, you will drop a Stomping Ground at the end where you landed. So if you want to do damage, you have to leap, and then when you land it, you are going to do the damage. And for level 6 and up, you will be using Rake. And Rake, with Stomping Ground, Martial Tempo for more attack speed, will add Heft and Close Combat. This will help you do more damage. Highly recommend you getting a 4 link. And Rake, again, you can see here, I have it at level 3. This is because the level does not matter in the setups because Rake is not the one doing damage. Stomping Ground is the one where you do all the damage because you trigger a shockwave when you take a step while using Rake. And the shockwave deals 100% to 150% of your strength as physical damage. And this was buffed in the 0.2, which is why the skill is extremely strong right now. You can see that anytime you use Rake, you have a Stomping Ground. And I think you do 3 times the damage. You do the damage 3 times with Rake, which is why this is really good right now. And I'll say even if this setup was nerfed by GGG, the skill should still be a very good skill to level with, even if it was nerfed, because this build is just very extremely easy to pilot and easy to play. And next up we have Herald Ash. I just put in here magnified effect against Rake had really good AoE. We scaled that together with Herald Ash and Trample Toe to do huge AoE damage, at least in the later part of the game when you have access to both of these. And we are running Companion. Companion is a core part of our gameplay. This is because we need Companions to scale damage later into the game. We have the Monster Modifier that give extra physical damage aura. And pretty much this is the single best aura that you can get for the playthrough. And you get this from level 31. Of course, you have to catch it first. And I will show you how to catch it later. But basically, we scale extra physical damage aura. And a lot of builds have problem with Companion dying, especially in the early part of the game because Companion are squishy, which is why we are using Elemental Army, Meat Shields, and Last Gaps. The key takeaway here is that when you're playing with Companions, because we are relying on the Companions for the aura, we do not want our Companion to die because if they die, then we would not get the aura. But after you actually put the point in here, Sturdy Ally, so Companion gain your strength, and you have plus 15 strength from this. Extremely good note for us because we are basically scaling our damage and we are strength stacking. So 1 strength equal 2 life, and if Companions gain our strength, basically they get thousands of life for free. I have never had issues with Companion dying ever again after I take this Sturdy Ally note, so again, just synergize extremely well with our build in general. The other skills does not really matter. I have a Tame Beast here, so if I do run into a good beast, the better beast that you can get than this one would be extra physical damage aura and haste aura, I would say. Or even a haste aura and haste beast would be really good. And try to get one with lower amount of spirits. Again, in this particular leveling setup, it doesn't really matter because we use only 2 aura. And I don't even use overwhelming presence at this point. But Thunderous Leap, you use it with Pinpoint Critical, Shocking Leap, and Inevitable Critical. The idea here is for Thunderous Leap to crit Shock Round. But then again, I find myself not using it too much. The reason why is we have Sky Sliver, and this one adds lightning damage to our skill, which means that our Rake will actually can shock. And so yeah, there's that. So on the animation cancelling, because this is going to be a core part of the gameplay, you are going to use Rake and parry to cancel. And the way I do it, this is how I do it personally. I'm not sure if there's a better way to do it, but I'm going to bind Rake to the left click of the mouse. So anytime you can hold down left click to use Rake just like this. And with enough attack speed, you don't really need to parry anymore, but in the early part of the game, this is going to help a lot and even help toward the end of the campaign. I'm talking about like really end game where you don't really need to use it, but you hold down left click and anytime that and you want to bind parry to the right click, and anytime that you are going to click parry, you will animation cancel the Rake. So if I just hold down the left click here and I use right click to cancel, you can see that my character kind of move very fast. And it takes some time to get used to, but if you time it properly, your Rake is going to animation cancel with your right click so you can move really fast like this. So all you need to do is hold down left click and you just click right click to go very fast. And this is why I am able to go through the campaign in record speed. To be honest, I think this is kind of silly that you are able to do this, and GGG might nerf this, but if they do, we'll just go back to the normal shield charge. This method is not meant to do a lot of damage or anything like that. It's just a way for you to speed through the campaign, and in the very early part of the leveling, you are basically doing the same thing but for walling slash. Again, this is going to take some time for you to get used to, but once you do, it's smooth sailing from there. Next up, we'll talk about fantastic beasts and where to tame them. There are actually 2 areas in Act 3 where you can do this. I am doing this in Infested Baron in a trouble camp. This is a fixed area that you will always have 2 beasts that spawn in this area. And anytime that you respawn a checkpoint, you are going to be able to find 2 new different set of beasts. And each of these beasts will have from 2 to 3 modifiers, and basically you are just respawn a checkpoint over and over again until you find the beasts that have the modifiers that we are looking for. The best modifier that you can find for our build is going to be the extra physical damage aura, and the second best would be the haste aura. And if you can find a beast that have both of them, you are going to have a good time in the campaign. Whenever you find the beast that you are looking for example, I have the extra physical damage aura beast over here. We are going to cast the Tame Beast skill on the monster first, and then you will kill the monster, and the monster will turn into a companion skills. Think of this as Pokemon, but with extra violence and extra steps. Last thing I want to talk about is the passive skill trees, and this is for my witch, but again, I'll put up a written guide and it will have all the ascendancies. Arguably, the witch is the weakest class when it comes to the passive skill tree because we want to path all the way down here for inspiring ally, and then we also need to path all the way here to get the strength note, and we can't even reach these beef notes which give 25 strengths, and this attribute notes down here as well. So I want to try this on the witch, and if it does work on the witch, it will definitely work on the other class as well. So very simple passive skill trees. What we are doing here is we will be strength stacking, and we just need enough dexterity to reach the 72 mark, which will let you use Tame Beast. And the rest of the passive skill trees are all attributes. We are pathing in such a way that we can grab as many jewel slots as you can, and all the attributes as possible. And basically our damage come from scaling inspiring ally, which increase and reduction to companion damage applied to you. This is going to give us a tons of flat or generic damage. Each of these small notes are 20% increased damage. You can grab a bunch of them here and over here as well. And inspiring ally and sturdy ally just make your companion never die. Polymathy for attributes, and we path all the way here to grab brute strength, which give 1% increased damage per 15 strength. And just for reference, we are having, for example, 755 strengths over here, which means this note roughly going to give us 50% increased damage, and which is why you can kind of see how amazing those companion notes actually is, because we have to path all the way here, but then we have access to easy companion notes, and each of those small notes actually give us 20% increased damage. And that's kind of it for the passive skill trees. You can kind of see why this is class agnostic, which means that you can do this on any class. You just need to path all the way to the outside, grab all the important notes, grab all the strengths, and we scales everything with strength. And this is going to be extremely easy for alt leveling in general. In conclusions, I think this is the single best leveling setups in the game right now. This is because we do not have any mana issues like we have with other setups. We are really tanky because we are strength stacking, and we have companions adding our damage, companions also helping us tank some damage. It is a pretty good all-rounder as a alt leveling build, and I hope you have a lot of fun playing it. Once again, I have a written guide for all class, so definitely check it out if you want to follow this build. And with that, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.